Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Brian.
So how was your week?
Pretty terrible. Have you ever seen that movie, the Pixar movie called Soul? It came out last year.
No, I don't watch cartoons.
Oh, of course you haven't seen it. Well, it's this charming animated movie for kids about what happens when you die.
Charming. Sounds like that right up my alley when cartoons die.
It's about this jazz musician who's like walking through New York City in the beginning. He's thinking about music. He's strolling along. He's averting death at every turn. Cranes are falling around him and cars are almost running him over, but he's just like, snapping his finger and thinking about jazz. And then he falls into an open manhole. And that's how I feel,
Let
basically.
me guess. That's the metaphor for your week or for your life or for whatever it is. It's as good as any. That's a good one. That's a good one.
It's like everything's so precarious right now. Like we can just like fall into a sinkhole any minute,
I think I did. I'll tell you about it after the open. This is Nope.
The podcast where we shut it down.
We're just a couple of New York Jews talking about the news, beating back the blues. We made a podcast and here's why. Had to laugh so we don't cry. Come and join us for the ride. Welcome to Nope. Okay, welcome. We've had like a 3-week break here, 2.5-week break.
Yeah,
it's because we've been doing the every other week, and then we had Rosh Hashanah last week, and we're actually we're recording this on Erev Yom Kippur, so we're getting ready to fast and go to Kol Nidre, but then we're going to hold it because we don't want to release.
We don't want to be disrespectful and weird on Yom Kippur.
Shanda, so we're going to record. We're going to release on Friday morning. But rest assured, we're here. But we are, Rachel, this was a great idea. We're going to stick to our every other week schedule for the foreseeable future because we answer to nobody and...
It's a delight.
It's a delight. We're not professionals. We're making this shit up as we go along, and we'll record when we want to record, and we won't when we don't. So
you get what you get, and you don't get upset. So there you
exactly
have it.
Right. And also, we should have said this at the end of the last episode, but it's the end of the summer music series because the summer is over.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It may be the end of the summer music series forever. This might be the final season after
the
two
last
canceled
nail
after
in
two
the
seasons.
Summer music coffin. Yeah,
it's just getting harder and harder to find. I mean, I demand quality. I don't want to compromise my standards, and it's getting harder and harder to find these videos from the canon of terrible videos. But there's there's history of great art being canceled after 2 seasons, like the British version of The Office was 2 seasons, right?
Enlightened.
And, what's it called? Freaks and Geeks was only 2 seasons.
Freaks and Geeks. Yeah.
Great.
My So-Called Life was only 1 season.
There you go. So in the great tradition of My So-Called Life and The Office, SMS is summer music series is on indefinite hiatus. Okay, yes. Rachel, what happened this week? You have an update for us, don't you?
Yeah, I have a really important update about Kristen, the woman who farted in a meeting who we talked about last week.
We've talked about in several weeks.
3 weeks ago. So if you don't know the story of Kristen already, there's nothing I can do really to help you. You can go back to our last episode and you'll get caught up if you listen to it. But so anyway, the story of Kristen advertising agency generated a stronger than it generated a stronger than expected response, including
among our listeners or like the fart itself.
Yes, and I monitor both. I monitor our Nope email account, so I don't think you even saw this because I didn't forward it to you.
No, I don't know what's coming here.
I got an email from an author who asked me to put him in touch.
Wait, he wants to option the story? But we're not allowed to reveal our sources, so Kristen is anonymous. So did you pass this along to Kristen?
I did. I forwarded it to Kristen. I didn't want to reveal her identity to this author because she's on witness protection.
The Nope Witness Protection Program.
So she got right back to me and she said, "This is great. I'll contact him." So she is now going to be the subject of like a
Pulitzer Prize.
Like a biography.
And then it'll
David
be
McCullough.
David McCullough. And then it'll be a biopic. It could
It'll be a biopic directed by Steven Spielberg.
We haven't done this in a while. You're always good at casting the best casting of fictional movies that don't exist. Like you once cast CNN the movie. Who would play Kristen? It's got to be Kristen Wiig.
Laura Dern. No, Laura. Oh, Kristen.
We've never met Kristen. We have no idea what she looks like, but she looms large in our imagination, and she is definitely Kristen Wiig. Okay, we've just alienated everyone who did not hear the original story. So my life has been consumed. Rachel, get it together. My life has been consumed by these storms that keep pummeling the New York area. Nothing compared to Louisiana, of course. Sympathies go out to those poor souls. But it's been pretty bad here. We had two storms, kind of like a week and a half apart or 2 weekends apart. The first one was biblical. It was the one that was the biggest in 500 years or something like that. And it had started to rain and we knew this was coming, but I'm an idiot. And I decided to go meet a friend at a bar at like 8:30 in the Village. So we met there and we had a great time for a couple hours and it was, time to go home and the rain was really coming down and we're like, oh, it's really raining, which was completely predicted. And we're like, let's stay here longer. So we stay there until like midnight, from 8:30 to midnight. And you know what happens when you just sit there at a bar until midnight. And we're like, this is ridiculous. We have to get out of here. So, and we have umbrellas. So we're walking in the rain and we said, I'm going to walk home. And we were in the same direction for a little while. So we started walking in the same direction home and it was just unwalkable. Like you couldn't even like make your way. So we ducked into another bar. And we stay there for another hour and a half, hoping that the rain will subside. And it does a little bit. And then I say, well, I'm halfway home. I can walk home. This is New York. You can walk anywhere. So I decide I'm just going to tough it out and walk home. And he goes the other direction. And I walk home and I start getting swarmed by rats.
No.
Yes. Like the sewers, I guess, flooded and it flushed them out of their homes, their rat holes. And they were everywhere. No. And I freaked out and I started sprinting down the middle of the street like, like, save me. I run out into the middle of 6th Avenue. Of course, there's no cabs anywhere. And I basically stand out in the middle of the street and block this cab that's off duty. And I say, please, take me. It's like 6 blocks to Tribeca. And, I don't even want to walk the 6 blocks. And he's like, mister, I've been on duty for 14 hours and I'm going home to Brooklyn now. And I'm like, what's it going to take? And I open my wallet and I start taking out $10 bills. I'm like, take it all. Just get me home. 5 minutes. So finally he did take me home, but it was extremely traumatic. But however, it was less traumatic than what happened to the next storm, which I think I texted you about while it was happening because it was so awful.
Wait, so that was not the same storm?
No, there were two adjacent storms.
Because I wasn't here, so I don't even know. I just know about Ida,
Oh, I don't even know what these are called anymore. Leon, I don't know.
Okay.
So this one, I was sitting at home, and I'm the president of my condo, which is something I would never wish on anybody. And so in addition to it's a self-managed condo, so I'm also the janitor. And I'm on call 24/7, 365 basically. And there's just the worst woman. She's this hysterical woman and who lives upstairs from me. And I guess there was a little trickle of a flood somewhere. She's always with the floods. And she starts texting me in the middle of the night, there's a flood. So it's a group text to 15 different people. Call an emergency plumber.
What is an emergency plumber?
I write back. I'm like, what is an emergency plumber? Do they have skills
from a non-emergency plumber? And what plumbing problem is not an emergency?
Right. And this is like the biggest storm of the century. I suspect the plumbers are all occupied doing things.
There are bigger emergencies.
Right. But she wouldn't let up. She's like, we need an emergency plumber. And I like, what do you do? What do you
say?
And I told her, Google emergency plumber, see what you get. I'm like, we have the same internet. Like,
so it's like Scrabble. Like, that is not a word.
Okay, let's shut these stories down. We have real nopes to get to. We've built a few up because it's been a few weeks. Okay, Rachel, what's going on in the nope world?
All right, so this is the dry heave segment where we talk about just the creatures from the Trump administration resurfacing. And I want to talk about John Pierce, who is one of the big Kraken lawyers. He's representing 17 Capitol riot defendants, more than any other lawyer. And, in the midst of all these trials, he went totally AWOL, which is very unusual.
He didn't show up for court hearings and filings and things?
No, starting sometime in August, he just stopped showing up for hearings for his clients. And instead, he sent a young associate named Ryan Marshall, who is not a lawyer. And on top of not being
is this like my cousin Vinny? Is this like my cousin
Vinny? Like my cousin Vinny. But worse, though, because this guy, Ryan Marshall, is facing felony charges for allegedly defrauding a widow of $86,000 from her late husband's estate while working as a law clerk.
Only the finest Krakens.
Yes.
Well, it takes a felon to defend a felon, I guess.
Well, exactly. Like, the defendants might have been like, I need a criminal lawyer. And this guy's like, I
want someone who really understands what it's like to be a felon. Right. I need empathy.
Right. I am a criminal. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a criminal. So 1 out of 2 ain't bad, right? And so he's not the most reliable narrator either. And when Marshall was asked in the hearing by the judge, where the hell is John Pierce? This guy cannot get his story straight. So here are the different stories we heard on 2 consecutive days from this guy who's not a lawyer. On August 24th, he appeared at a hearing in place of John Pierce and told the judge that Pierce was absent because of a scheduling conflict.
Okay.
What kind of scheduling conflict do you have when you're
if you're a lawyer? It has to be in court. That's what
your schedule is. So a few hours later, Marshall attended another hearing for a different defendant represented by Pierce, and he told the prosecutor that Pierce had been in an accident and was on his way to a hospital. Then a different associate reached out to NPR, a different associate from the same law firm, said that Pierce was not in an accident, but he was just suffering from dehydration.
That's like when Mariah Carey can't go on stage and she's actually
nervous
in
exhaustion.
Right, she's in rehab or something.
That's actually a legit excuse, you know?
But you're not dehydrated. I mean, you may incidentally also be dehydrated, but it's not the primary cause of your
problem. Yes, it's
it all stem. I mean, in the end, doesn't it all stem from dehydration?
Dehydration.
Just hydrate more.
So then there's the following day. So all of those 3 excuses were in one day. And the following day, Marshall again appears in place of Pierce at another hearing for an accused Capitol rioter and told the judge that Pierce, who is a renowned anti-vaxxer, by the way, had been hospitalized with COVID and was on a ventilator. But then right after that, this other unnamed associate at the law firm called NPR.
Or maybe is it the same one like Trump the publicist?
I suspect John Barron.
Yes, I suspect this is all Pierce calling in it himself.
Yes, I think so. Yes. That guy Pierce was wrong. I'm right. So okay, so then this other unnamed person calls NPR again and says that Pierce is hospitalized with COVID, but he's not on a ventilator. So we don't...
Important clarification.
So he's hospitalized, he's not hospitalized, he's dehydrated, he's been in an accident, there was a scheduling conflict. We've run the gamut.
Same thing. There is a scheduling conflict, which is that he is in the hospital with COVID on a ventilator. and therefore he is dehydrated as a function
or
of his
in rehab.
or in rehab. This is all of a piece. This makes perfect sense to me, Rachel. I don't know why you think this is funny.
When it's not really lies. It's all true. So this is a huge mystery until this week when John Pierce suddenly resurfaced, but a statement he released raises more questions than it answers. So this week he puts out a statement saying he's, quote, pleased to report that on Sunday, September 5th, 2021, I was released from an LA area hospital following a 12-day stay. I was not missing or anything of the sort. But then he goes on to say that he's not able to appear in court until this week. And so now he's back. Did he explain why he couldn't use his phone during this 2-week hospital stay?
Maybe he was on a ventilator, but why is that so embarrassing? Like, you would think he would, if anything, get sympathy. He's very sick.
Yeah, well, he did thank the judges for their sympathy because they were like, posting memos or whatever lawyers do stating that he wasn't
right. So did he have like a vision that he should reform, that he should support vaxxers and get rid of his January 6th clients?
He didn't. Well, he didn't say if he was like what he was hospitalized for. He never explained. He didn't even say where he was hospitalized because the Daily Beast reported that no patient named John Pierce was admitted to Cedars-Sinai or the UCLA Medical Center during the period in question. So those are like the two biggest LA area hospitals, and he wasn't in those. So where was he? But back to the statement. Pierce went on to say that he wants to especially thank Ryan Marshall, a young associate at my firm whose admission to the bar is pending after his criminal trial.
As my disbarment is pending.
Yes. Right. So he says, as I learned for the first time about the confusion and intense media coverage that accompanied my hospitalization, Ryan clearly did an incredible job under immensely difficult circumstances with the limited information he had at the time. He did the worst job humanly possible. I can't think of anybody doing a worse job in any context. He told 5 different stories.
You had one job, like cover for me for a
cover for
days.
Me,
right? These are, I agree.
Stick to one story. If it's made up, double down on it. Just stick to one story. So I say best of luck to the Capitol riot defendants who got the garbage attorney that they so richly deserve. But where was I still want to know where was he and what happened? Where is the investigation?
We'll never know. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Okay.
Can we shut it down?
Yes, let's shut it down.
Okay, nope.
What
else is going on in the nope world?
Well, this week marked the return of the Met Gala, which is, Anna Wintour's crazy annual parade of celebrities in outrageous fashions. And I don't know about you, Brian, but I was happy that it was back.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, it's part of what makes New York, New York, especially New York Fashion Week and the fall and a new season. I mean, really, New Year's in New York is September, right?
Exactly.
It's not January. It's that's when the tourists do it in Times Square. We have Rosh Hashanah, we have Fashion Week, we have all the important holidays.
So we're looking into the future. Like, what are people going to look like in 6 months? We know. 6 months. We know now. So I did love seeing all the photos of all the looks. And did you see any of them? Like Kim Kardashian?
Yeah. She was like in the gimp. She was in the gimp outfit. Was that her?
Yeah. She looked like a silhouette. It was interesting. At least she didn't have to wear a mask or anything. It probably protected her from COVID.
Yeah. Well, it was one big mask.
It was a giant mask. Yeah. My favorite was Frank Ocean, who showed up. Did you see him?
No.
He was on the red carpet. He looked very normal in a suit, but he was holding a green robot baby. And it was very strange. But I loved it.
You were covering this for years back when you were at the Journal, right? So has it gotten weirder? Like, has it become more of a clown show? I mean, I seem to remember it was actually couture, like doing their best work to show off. And now it's just a freak show.
Well, with the advent of like TikTok and Instagram, it's like it's a a race to the bottom, really, to be more outrageous.
It's an arms race.
Yeah. Okay. And a legs race. So the theme was American fashion. I have no idea what any of these people were doing because none of them, I didn't look at any of them and think oh, this is American fashion. No, I thought this is a robot baby.
Psychopathic, right?
But it doesn't even matter because all of the headlines were stolen by a person who was not even there. And that person is Nicki Minaj, the rapper.
Yes, I saw the headlines, but I have no idea why someone who wasn't there would grab all the Met Gala headlines.
Yes, she hoarded them all. They are the headlines are all about Nicki.
Nothing left for anyone else.
No, nothing. No soup for you. So Nicki is usually there, but this year she was not. And the reason why is because she's not yet vaccinated. And she tweeted that she thinks she will eventually get vaccinated once she's done enough research. But so far,
I'm sure she's doing very deep. What is she doing? Poring over the scientific literature in her spare time.
Yes, that's what she's doing.
Takes many years to really digest the body of work from
she's reading it all. Okay. So then after she said that, she sent another tweet that really stopped everyone, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, in their tracks. Here's what she said. This is in a tweet to her 22.6 million followers. Quote, "My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married, and now the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied." Okay, so there's a lot to unpack.
Wait, could you take me through the lineage there again? It's Nicki Minaj's cousin.
A Trinidadian friend of Nicki Minaj's cousin.
A friend of the
swollen
cousin.
Testicles. That is the headline.
Testicle. And that also means impotent, therefore.
He also got the vaccine. So the first thing I would say to Nicki and her cousin's friend in Trinidad is that correlation does not imply causation. And it is highly likely that the swollen testicles were perhaps due to a different cause, like maybe an STD, which may explain why the fiancé has walked back her
maybe
commitment.
The fiance wanted to wait till their wedding night and he's just got blue balls. I have no idea.
That's interesting.
That's my theory.
But then why would she break things off before the wedding?
she saw the swollen
I think
balls.
My theory makes more sense.
I don't know.
But so the fiance probably saw, this is my theory. The fiance saw the swollen testicles and was like, "Where were you last night?" And her fiance was like, "I was getting the vaccine."
What? How does that tie? That makes even less sense. Wait, and why are we even talking about where the story came from? It is the most interesting part of this story. Who is this cousin in Trinidad? And it's the friend. It's not even a cousin.
But how big is Trinidad? Everybody knows the guy who is friends with Nicki Minaj's cousin who has the elephant testicles.
Wait, is it the cousin or the friend of the cousin?
The friend of the cousin.
Okay, so it's the cousin has a friend, has a fiance who broke off. So basically, the vaccine is a love killer. It's destroying.
It's a romance. Yeah, it's destroying romance all over the world. So Fauci had to answer a question. Everyone is up in arms about this. So now even Dr. Fauci has to address it on television. So Jake Tapper asked him about it and he responded with,
there's still a fucking pandemic and Jake Tapper is asking Anthony Fauci about some dude's swollen balls in Trinidad.
And he's answering it. He said she should be thinking twice about propagating information that has no basis except a one-off anecdote, and that's not what science is all about. I thought that was a very classy answer. He didn't address the matter at hand. He just
he kind of he's kind of dodged it sideways.
Yes. But then after that, if it couldn't get any worse, Trinidad and Tobago Health Minister Dr. Terence Dayal Singh held a press conference today on television stating that there is no reported cases of swollen testicles in all of Trinidad.
Wait. If you're someone in Trinidad with swollen testicles, do you report that? To whom? To the police? To the testicle police? To the It's like in White Lotus. You walk in and say, "Can you look at this? Is this something?"
Right. It was a plot line on White Lotus.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where it came from. Maybe Nicki Minaj was just hallucinating the whole thing.
She had a dream about White Lotus, and this is what came out.
So, I don't know. I mean,
no, could we just?
I don't know. Yeah, but everyone wants to interview this person. The cousin's friend, Jimmy Kimmel, put out a call for him to call him, and even our finest living journalist Tucker Carlson is on the hunt. Here's a clip.
We haven't been able to figure out whether this show is broadcast in Trinidad. But if Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend is watching, or his former fiancé is watching, we want to hear your story. We'll come to Port of Spain to see you. Let us know.
So, honestly, I don't know what to say about this.
Just shut it down. That's why.
I think we just need to shut it down. Congrats to Nicki for making the Met Ball all about your cousin's friend's balls. Good work.
No,
keep it going. No, absolutely
so
not.
I want to keep talking about fashion and trends and things like that. And it turns out it's funny that the theme of the Met Gala was American fashion, because the number one fashion and style trendsetter in the world is no longer in the US, no longer in Europe even. The number one trendsetter was not at the Met Gala. It is now Kim Jong Un.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, you may remember, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months ago, we did a thing about fashion in North Korea, how Kim Jong Un banned skinny jeans, and there were only 15 approved hairstyles, and that he said others were non-socialist, and there was this TV program called Let's Trim Our Hair in Accordance with the Socialist Style.
That was the name of the TV program.
Yes.
I guess there's not much competition.
No. It's state television. They can air whatever they want.
Let's trim our hair, but not in the socialist style.
That's on the other channel, not in the socialist style. Let's trim our hair in accordance with the socialist style.
Oh, okay.
No. It's like on ABC versus NBC or Netflix versus Hulu. Okay. So now, though, Kim, that was last year. Kim is now taking it to the next level. He appeared at some sort of night parade, and it yielded the following tweet from the AP. Kim Jong Un looked thinner and more energetic in a North Korean parade that showcased military animals and workers in hazmat suits.
Wait, was this written by a North Korean person? Like a North Korean government official? This is the AP?
Yeah.
Do they have a North Korean bureau? Like, what is this? This sounds like...
about that is the parade with military animals. And
what are military animals?
Like canine bomb sniffers or something? Experts say Kim's weight loss is likely the result of an effort to improve his shape rather than health problems.
To improve his shape? That's such a weird word to use in a sentence.
Right. It sounds as if it's like a North Korean thing where they try to translate something and it's not quite proper English, but this was the AP. And CNN even, their headline was Kim Jong Un boasts a svelte new look at midnight parade.
Who is behind this campaign?
I don't know. Even on Fox News, Rachel Campos Duffy said, "I'm sorry, he looks better than our president."
What?
And then he was spotted outdoors, like drinking some sort of, I saw the picture, a bright green like smoothie with a swirly straw, like a girly swirly kid straw, like a silly straw. Here's the punchline. He looks fucking great. He looks really good. You could Google it while we're...
You think he looks good?
He's kind of hot now. Whatever he's doing, God, I'll take what he's having.
Everyone's just like bedazzled, bewitched by him. Have you been like glamored by him?
I don't know, but of course the internet exploded. Someone photoshopped a fake cover of Vogue, speaking of the Met Gala, of Trump, Kim and Trump, their fashionable life in surreal times. And there's a picture of Trump standing behind and kind of fondling Kim Jong Un, who's wearing a wedding dress. It's actually very well done. Right. But the problem is that apparently it gave Kim new confidence because just a few days later, he tested new long-range cruise missiles for the first time in a while.
Okay.
But
he wanted to look good before that.
They say for his coming out, for the release party before his new missiles drop,
a launch party.
Well, they say that body image gives you confidence, right? And I'm not saying one body image is better than the other, but obviously he preferred the svelte version of himself, so he made it happen. He's a go-getter.
Well, I hope he has some influence on his best friend Donald Trump, who is not looking so svelte.
I hope he doesn't, so that Trump gets even fatter and less healthier.
There's nothing, Trump, you can't help Trump. No,
okay. Well, anyway, I kind of secretly am giving Kim Jong Un a yup for a genocidal maniac, but no, he's a nope. He's always a nope. Okay. I have one final story here. So I think I already did a callback to this, but what was the story where it was in France or Romania it was in Krakow, Poland, and they thought there was a wild animal prowling in the neighborhood in a tree, like staring at them for days at a time, and it didn't move.
And it was a croissant.
It was a croissant, right? Well, in other lurking animal news...
This is not a croissant.
No, this is not a croissant. In Prince George's County, Maryland, Upper Marlboro, animal control got 5 different calls that people had spotted 5 zebras running wild, at first on the railroad tracks, but then running farther afield. And they deduced that they had escaped from a private farm that has 39 zebras. So I guess 5 of them went missing. And they reported that there was a trio traveling together and the other 2 were a pair. So it makes you wonder, was it like a throuple and a couple? Like...
Where was the other one? There was 6 loose? So
no, 5 loose. So there was a pod of 3, a throuple.
A 3 and a 2, okay.
A 3 and a 2, okay. So you would think, like with all of modern technology, we should be able to catch these zebras, but we cannot have nice things. It turns out that zebras cannot be chased. You would have to unleash a lion to catch the zebra, which would introduce a whole other problem that Prince George's County is not ready for. It's even less equipped for.
That was our solution for the rats in the island off of the West Coast. Right. Unleash a lion.
It's always the lions. We always need the lions.
It's a solution for everything, but
it's
I guess not that.
It's a solution in search of a problem. No, that would have been plausible, but for some reason that one didn't happen. So Rodney Taylor, the chief of animal control, said you can't hunt them down. They're just too fast. They run. They wouldn't let you near them. He said that they get spooked very easily, rightly so, and that the only way to catch them is that they must be corralled. So they had this like scheme to lure them with grain into a temporary corral area.
Aren't there dogs that can do this?
No, I'm not an expert on corralling zebras. So at first, they had a strategy. They said, we do have a feeding station and we're winning their confidence.
Oh my God, it takes, how long is this going to take?
Wait, it takes a while because wait till you hear the details. They're winning their confidence. Now, how much confidence is being, like, what's the confidence interval required?
To know, first of all, how do you know? And what's
their motivation? Like, how do you measure? What's the KPIs, the OKRs on how much confidence in a zebra? Okay, wait. So here's why it's taking so long and why it's so hard to gain their confidence. The animal control guy says, if you build a corral area all at once, they're very sensitive and they won't come there to eat. So you have to put it up a few panels at a time. So you have to build, like, you can't just like build it like they're too smart for that. You have to like build a few panels, a few stakes, and then they come and eat the grain, and then they come again, and each time there's a few more, and before you know it, you have a full corral and you close the gate behind them.
So it's like the contractor that they hire has to just like do the job like
every night at midnight they slink in, put in another post.
And run out.
Yes, and it takes 3 months. And finally they've built a whole circle and then they could maybe get it. So I don't know what the status of these zebras are. It was just a couple of days ago. I assume that they're still building the corral, but I have a very important postscript. So postscript, Georges County is adjacent to Washington, D.C., and the story now shifts to your and my favorite politician, non-voting Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes
Norton, yes.
Our favorite.
She's been there forever.
What is she like, the Verizon?
I don't know.
There was some Verizon thing we had with her. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Some event.
I don't know. We met her at some Verizon event or something.
Oh.
Which sounds like the kind of thing we would go to. Hey, Rachel, I got a +1 to this Verizon thing. Eleanor Holmes Norton is going to be there.
Ooh, you don't say.
I was going to go to the Met Gala, but let's go to...
But who would go to that?
A Verizon event in Washington, D.C. Anyway, I digress. So she issued a press release that says... Norton denies responsibility for setting zebras free, supports freedom generally.
Okay. So was anyone accusing her of setting the zebras free in the first
I think
place?
This is thou dost protesteth too much.
Okay. And she was unrelated to this case.
Right. And she said she had to speak up because she was known to oppose unnecessary fences. So I guess when they were like after Jan 6, like when they had all the fences up or I don't know when, like she was, I don't know, statehood autonomy, and she didn't think they had the right to put up fences, so she's staked her claim as the anti-fence candidate.
So is that why this private zebra maintainer in Prince George's County didn't put up fences for the zebras because of Eleanor Holmes?
I don't know. I think she's just stating that she would have been in favor of the fence, and in this case. And is presumably in favor of the corral, which involves a fence. Now, of course, good on her. It was a prank. It was a fake press release that she put out. It's on her official congressional website. And what we need is a little levity in this day and age.
That's cute. All right. Yeah.
And then she said, I hope the owners find the zebras and that all involved live long, full lives.
That's
which
nice.
Is very sweet. Very sweet.
Very sweet. I hope they get the zebras corralled soon. And I hope they don't turn on each other like the throuple, you know?
The throuple and the couple? Like what?
Yeah. Like, what are those dynamics going to be like? Or the throuple's going to be like, I'm going to the corral. I don't know about you.
They're gaining each other's confidence. Okay, nope, shut down these zebras. Nope. Okay. It's time for the ups. These are the little rays of light, little beacons of hope that got us through the week. Rachel, please go first.
Yeah, well, I've been watching American Crime Story Impeachment on FX, which revisits the Bill Clinton impeachment scandal in a more modern context. And it's really brilliant. First of all, Monica Lewinsky, who I got to know a little when I was working at Twitter, is a producer of the show. So the story is particularly sensitive to what happened to her. And she's played by Beanie Feldstein, who is terrific. She was in that Olivia Wilde movie. What was that called again?
I forget, but the two friends in high school.
It was really cute, yeah. And Sarah Paulson in the show is having her Eileen Wuornos moment as
from
Linda
Monster.
Tripp.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
she's
that
so
serial
good.
killer.
I watched the first episode on your recommendation last night. It's so good. Linda
so
Tripp.
Good,
She's
right?
You see in her face, everybody knows a Linda Tripp. And she was such like a faceless character in that whole story.
Yeah.
And you see her and you're like, now I know what Linda Tripp is about.
She's giving her depth and humanity, and she does not look like Sarah Paulson at all. She's got these prosthetic teeth and a wig, and she gained weight, and she just looks totally different. So big yup to impeachment on FX, yup to Beanie and Monica and Sarah Paulson. Amazing.
On a related note, another streaming amazing show is The Chair.
Yes.
Hulu, I think, right? And,
no, it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, as I was saying. And it's about Sandra Oh, who becomes the first woman of color, I guess, who to chair the English department in a small liberal arts college with a cantankerous crew of English people. And it's just she can't win. One thing happens after another. There's allegations of whatever.
Impropriety
of
all varieties.
All varieties. And there's budget cuts, and she always seems to do the wrong thing. But her performance is amazing. It's got Jay Duplass in it. There's a little girl who's the daughter, and
so
she's amazing.
Cute.
But I think the whole show is stolen by the actress Holland Taylor, who's in other Ryan Murphy things. In looking up Holland Taylor, who's about 95 years old, I realized that she is either married to or the lover of Sarah Paulson.
Yes, they are together. But when you told me that at first, I was like, no, that's not true. She's with Cherry Jones, who is another lesbian elder star of the stage and screen. And she was in Impeachment. She played Nan Pierce. But
in Succession.
In Succession, yeah. Should I say Impeachment?
You did, but that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Well,
yeah, in Succession. It's just like one word shows,
Yeah.
Anyway, it turns out they broke up a while ago, and you were absolutely right. She's with Holland Taylor now.
She's got a type.
Definitely
doesn't have a type. That's not for me to judge. I hope she's very, very happy. Just like Eleanor Holmes Norton and the Zebras. I wish them long, full, and happy lives. Okay, that's the end of this episode. I'm really glad to be back on the air, so to speak, with you, Rachel. It's a good time to get to spend together. And we are going to, hopefully, now that you're back in the city, we're going to do some live and in person. It used to be that a live show meant that we had an audience. Now a live show just means that we are in the same place.
We are each other's audience.
An audience of one for each other. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please rate, subscribe, review. Tell your friends in real life. That's the best way. We want to get some... our ratings have kept up, even though we've been publishing less frequently. Maybe people like this frequency. They're like, okay, I love Nope, but like once
everyone's
every other
slowed
week,
down a little. Yeah,
we're all a little slow. But anyway, we're doing great.
People.
But let's get the momentum going here. Tell your friends about it.
Write us a review. Give us a 5-star review. Come on, if you like this podcast, just do it.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a terrible few weeks. It's been a wonderful podcast to record. Thank you for listening. This has been Nope,
the podcast where we shut it down.